Good morning, everyone. We're going to start the program shortly. Good morning, everyone. We're going to start in just 1 minute. Thank you for your patience. Okay, let's begin today's program. Everyone can join us when they can. So welcome, everyone. My name is Nikki Freeman, and I'm the Director of Education at the Holocaust Memorial Miami Beach. On behalf of the Holocaust Memorial, I would like to welcome you to this morning's play reading of the Education of Herschel Grynszpan. It's done in cooperation with Why I Love Jewish, a division of the Yiddishkeit Initiative. This event is part of the Holocaust Memorial's ongoing series of educational programming that's taking place during Holocaust Education Week. These programs are sponsored by the Florida Department of State, the State of Florida Department of Education, the Division of Arts and Culture, and the City of Miami Beach Cultural Affairs Program, Cultural Arts Council. I would also like to give a special thank you to the Greater Miami Jewish Federation for their ongoing support. Before today's play reading, I'm going to share a little bit about Kristallnacht. To share my screen. All right. Hopefully you can all see my little PowerPoint presentation. As many of you know, today marks the 84th anniversary of Kristallnacht, often referred to as the Night of Broken Glass. This violent anti-Jewish pogrom took place across Germany, annexed Austria, and areas of the Sudetenland. On November 9th and November 10th, 1938. You can see in this map the wide range of destruction over the course of several days. Stormtroopers and Hitler Youth destroyed hundreds of synagogues and over 7,000 Jewish businesses were looted. Jewish cemeteries were desecrated and 91 Jews were murdered, and an estimated 30,000 Jewish men were arrested and sent to concentration camps, as you can see in this photograph here. These concentration camps were Dachau, Buchenwald, and Sachsenhausen. Scholars agree that Kristallnacht was a turning point for German Jews, and as a result, many tried to emigrate. Just a few days prior to these events, on November 7th, 1938, a young Herschel Grynszpan, who was a Polish Jewish refugee, entered the German embassy in Paris and mortally wounded Third Secretary Ernst von Raff. Grynszpan was just 17 years old. His actions would later be used by Nazi officials as a justification for Kristallnacht. Today, we are going to watch The Education of Herschel Grynszpan, which is based on true historic accounts leading up to Kristallnacht. It is a story about two passengers sharing a train from Krakow to Warsaw on November 1st, 1938. One passenger, played by actor Avi Hoffman, says he is a Klezmer violinist. His trainmate is a young Herschel Grynszpan, who is about to enter university. As the train gets closer to its destination, we find out the truth about the musician's journey and a clandestine Jewish organization illegally smuggling Jews out of Poland into Palestine with world-shattering results. Following the play, we will hear a pre-recording message from the playwright and composer Yale Strom. So please join me in the play, The Education of Herschel Grynszpan. Avi, if you could, Ari, if you could start the play, thank you.
Your papers again.
Yes, officer, you saw my papers with the conductor in the station. What more do you want? I have a ticket, and the train is leaving. This is ridiculous.
None of your kind can be trusted.
Okay, I understand these are tense times, but as I told you, I'm not part of any political organization. I'm a musician. I'm going to play at a wedding. Excuse me. Is this seat taken?
No.
Slightest little thing not in order, and then they automatically get suspicious.
Why did they question you?
Why, you ask? Because I am a Jew. That's why. Are you Jewish?
Yes.
You know, we've been living in this country only for 900 years. A Jew's life is worth less than the leather that it takes to make my boots. I'm sorry. Sorry for yelling. You see this fiddle? That's been my livelihood for the last 25 years. No. What's your name?
Herschel.
Herschel! My name is Moses. When things are slow with the music, as it has been for some time, I also work cleaning roofs. A Jew cleaning the copper roofs of the churches. A regular fiddler on the roof. But soon, they'll find some excuse why I shouldn't be hired to do that.
Your identification papers.
My papers, Mr. Conductor. You saw them in the station, along with the policeman just before we left.
I want to see them again, please. And the boy?
Oh, this is my nephew, Herschel. His mother is my sister. Are you finished?
And where are you traveling?
I am playing at a wedding in Otwo.
That will be all. Thank you.
And a good day to you, sir.
Should I play an instrument too, since
I am your nephew.
The spoons, perhaps. You want a swig of whiskey?
No, thanks.
It's good that you don't drink. It's a nasty habit, huh? I have such a headache from arguing with that paskudnyak policeman, huh? He had no right to question me like that. Like I was some kind of criminal. Herschel, what's the time?
13. We're making good time.
No. So, do you have any, brothers or sisters?
I have an older sister, Esther, and an older brother, Mordechai, both in Hanover.
Yeah, I have two siblings as well. Twin brothers, younger than me. They live in Mexico City. They left in 1929. They had to because the police were after them. They're both in the Communist Party.
Why didn't you go with them? Don't you miss them?
It's a question I ask myself all the time. Just think, Herschel. Only 25 years ago, I was fighting alongside my fellow Poles and the Germans against the Russians.
My father fought in World War I and earned a medal from the Germans.
Ha! I served both as a field doctor and as a klezmer in the military band. Both were horrible. I was weighed down with supplies and my instrument, trumpet in the band, of course. And then I got shot in my heel. I was discharged. Remember, Herschel, you'll always know where you stand with these Germans. Herschel, how old are you?
I am 17. I'll be 18 in March.
You were scarcely out of your mother's womb when Pilsudski kicked the damn Russians out of our Poland in 21, and we got our independence. It only took 125 years. You know, I always believed...
Papers! Ticket!
Yes, sir. All my papers are in order.
Are you traveling to Germany in the near future?
No, I have no reason to travel to Germany.
We can't be too careful. The situation right now with Germany and us is very tense with all of the trouble happening on the border in Zaboschen. Young man, your papers.
Sir, what's the trouble in Zaboschen?
Hitler expelled all of the Polish Jews who had been living in Germany. He claimed they weren't citizens. Poor bastards, those Jews. Trouble seems to follow them wherever they go.
Meyshke, I play a little violin.
Oh.
It's my uncle's violin.
Good choice, Herschel. The Jewish instrument. What kind of fiddle do you have?
It's a Czech violin. My Aunt Chava has been giving me some lessons. She and my Uncle Abe live in Paris.
Paris? Your parents live in Hanover and you live in Paris? Huh. Yeah, I've never been to Paris. I've heard it's beautiful, especially the language.
I speak just a little French. All my friends speak Yiddish. My parents sent me to Paris because I was forced to leave my high school in Hanover. They feel life in general will be better for me there and I'll have a better chance of going to the university. Besides my school and studies and music, I spend most of my time at the Bar Kokba, sports club fencing, playing football, chess.
I've always wanted to go to Paris. I'd go for any job. I'd even gladly play solo in one of those Parisian cafes on the banks of the Seine. Do you know that the British have restricted all immigration for Jews to Palestine? Look at this. Look at this paper. No, we're not welcome in Palestine, Austria, Czechoslovakia, Germany. The world really loves us. Jew, the international word for spy, traitor, and liar. And you know why, Herschel?
My uncle in Paris thinks Abraham should have stayed in Mesopotamia and just have conquered and converted those people around him.
No, Herschel. The next celebration for your parents will be your chasana, your wedding. Do you have a girlfriend?
I don't think I'll ever get married.
Not getting married. You say that now. I know you think you have some time, but not that many years. Yeah, I got married when I was 19.
But Meyshke,
No, I know. These are different times. But anyhow, I'm sure your parents are already very proud of you. Is that Celts? Herschel, how long have we been sitting here? What time is it?
it's 1848.
Wait, well, we're running late now. Damn it! We were making good time. I have to make that connection in Warsaw. If I'm not on that train, they will assume that something happened to me and they will leave immediately. No, Herschel, you're not too young to not be aware of the current political crisis. Every now and then, reading a newspaper.
We get all the newspapers and know what is happening. I belong to the Jewish Bundes youth group called Zukunft, the future, and that is all we ever discuss these days. That is why I am traveling to Hanover. I want to convince my parents to return to Paris with me.
Herschel, you're only what, 17 years old? In 20 years, I'll be reading about you, I'm sure.
Maybe the next time you travel through Schedlitz, please come visit my aunt's house. She would love to hear your music.
Herschel, the truth is, I'm not traveling to Schedlitz to play for a wedding. I lied to the police because they would arrest me if they knew what I was doing. I am meeting some people in Warsaw who are in this political group, He Chalutz, the pioneer. I have been working with them for the past year, smuggling Jews to Palestine. I was playing at a wedding in Lodz when I met a young man who told me about He Chalutz. I began visiting their training camp, and there I learned about Palestine, about the farming Hebrew. We Jews, Herschel, we're like fish in a pond that's evaporating from the heat. The pond is getting smaller and smaller, and we can't wait for another good rain. Speaking about drought, it's been over a month since I played at a wedding.
My father is a tailor and business has been very poor. And that's one reason why my parents sent me to live with my uncle in Paris.
Everyone is hurting financially and worried what's going to happen next with Germany. And for us, Yidden, anti-Semitic boycotts are strangling us economically. Herschel, my mother's brother, my uncle Avi, lived in Mannheim for 15 years. He was a teacher in a gymnasium, and he spoke German perfectly. And you know what? He, along with 17,000 other Polish Jews who were living in Germany, were deported, pushed out and sent to Poland just 6 days ago, October 27th. Remember the policeman said there was some trouble in Zbojin? Well, the Jews were sent there. The Polish authorities pushed them into old army barracks on the border in Zbojin because the government doesn't want them either. It's revoked the passports of all Poles who have lived abroad for more than 5 years. After all, they weren't Poles, they were Jews. Herschel, your parents might be among those deported.
Why would the Germans do this? My parents moved to Germany 27 years ago.
You're young, strong, and clever, Herschel, but Europe has no need for you. Hell, they don't have a need for an old Klezmer like me. Listen, have you ever heard of Hashomer Hatzair, the socialist Zionists? They're working with He Chalutz. They're the only answer, Herschel, to the world in their fakakte eternal Jewish question. I have orders to go to Zbojin to help smuggle those Jews who want to get to Palestine. Look, don't worry. Don't worry. Herschel, if your parents are there, I will help them.
But my father fought for the Germans. in World War I. I mean, he loves German literature, music. He even tries to speak only German and very little Yiddish.
All right, here. This is my address. And here, you write your address down there. Herschel, I know that you are worried about your family. But let me tell you something that happened to my Zayde, Dufke. A story that will give you strength. He told nobody this story except for me, just before he died. This goes back 34 years. My Zayde was playing with his band at a wedding in Lemberg, a regular wedding outside, next to the shul during Pesach, when all of a sudden they heard screaming and yelling coming from down the street. And then from around the corner, they saw Jews running towards them, crying, splattered with blood. It was a pogrom. The damn Cossack bastards on foot and on horse were going from house to house, pulling Jews out and murdering them, knifing, shooting, while the police did nothing. And just then, my Zayde, he saw an old friend, a Gentile musician, who in the past had played in his band. So he quickly took my Zayde and the band through an alley into the shul. And there they joined others in the shul cellar, where they barricaded themselves for 9 hours.
What happened to the wedding couple?
The bride fell down while running away. And the groom, he went to help her. Both were murdered. Can you imagine what it was like in that cellar? No light, no toilet, afraid to whisper, even to breathe. 9 hours they heard the incessant crying and screaming from the Jewish women, while those bastards raped them in the shul, surrounded by the burning Torahs. And while they all sat in the cellar, not knowing what happened to their loved ones, my Zayde decided to sing a song to calm the people. He told me he learned it when he was a young boy, just like you, Herschel. Wollt ich gehad koyach, wollt ich gelaufen in die Gassen, wollt ich geschrien Scholem, 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 Scholem. And then Herschel, in that cellar of fear, my Zayde added these words. Wollt ich gehad koyach, wollt ich gekämpfen in die Gassen, wollt ich geschrien Eretz, 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 Eretz. What time is it now? Just last time.
It's 1939.
Damn, we're late. We should have arrived in Warsaw a half hour ago. Excuse me, Mr. Conductor. When will we be arriving in Warsaw?
We arrive in 2 minutes.
Finally. You wouldn't happen to have any information on the train going to Shedlitz? I'm meeting another musician.
Unshoot! I've had enough of you and the rest. We're arriving. Get off the damn train.
My name is not Panjit. It is Meyshke. Herschel, forget Hanover. Get to Paris as quick as a deer. I will send you a telegram in a week from Zvonchy. By then I'll know if your parents are there, and if they are, what the situation is and what they want to do.
My parents in Zvonchy. How can this be?
Gewalt. Herschel, I think those are the police out there. We're coming into the station. I've got to get to the Shedlitz train without them seeing me.
What can I do? Can I help you?
Herschel, our slogan in Hechalutz is Af al Pi, in spite of. In spite of everything, we are smuggling Jews to Palestine, from the Black Sea through Romania, and from Bratislava down the Danube. We have some ships there. I can help you and your family. You have my address, and I have yours.
Your papers at once!
What seems to be the problem, officer? I'm traveling to Schedlitz. Look, I have my tickets and my seats already.
You're not going anywhere, Zhid. Now hand me your papers.
I've answered all your questions. Please, I have to go catch my train. What is this all about? Dear, here are my papers. They're all in order.
You need to come with me now. And this kid?
No, I don't know this kid. I've never seen him.
Is that your violin?
The violin is his. Remember, Af al Pi, in spite of.
On November 7th, 1938, a distraught young man named Herschel Grynszpan, whose family had been deported a week before from Hanover, Germany to the Sponschen refugee camp, enters the German embassy in Paris and mortally wounds Third Secretary Ernst von Roth. Grynszpan is immediately arrested.
Kulturell. Bedeutet in der letzten Konsequenz die absolute Vernichtung aller wirtschaftlichen, sozialen.
On November 9th, in response to the shooting in Paris, propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels gives an inflammatory speech against the Jews and says, "If actions erupt spontaneously, they are not to be hampered." Within hours, the Kristallnacht pogrom began spreading throughout Germany, Austria, and the Sudetenland.
Hello students, thank you for coming and listening. Perhaps you have seen already the play, The Education of Herschel Grynszpan, or you will. I am the playwright, Yale Strom, and it's a pleasure to come into your classroom. A little about me. Well, I was born in Detroit, very proud of my Motown roots, and lived there through my elementary years. And then my family moved to San Diego, California, and that's where I went to middle school, high school, and then undergraduate school at San Diego State University. I liked many things. You know, some people say, well, are you focused on engineering, or do you want to become a doctor or something? And I said, no, I'm not sure what I want. I like all kinds of things. I was like a kid in a candy store, 31 flavors, Baskin and Robbins. I loved all the ice cream flavors. Do I have to choose which is my favorite? I want some of this and some of that, some of that. So after studying different subjects and finally getting a degree in American Studies, and then I got a degree in furniture design, I went to, I built furniture for a bit. I went to a Klezmer dance, Jewish instrumental dance, Klezmer. That's what the story is about. It's folk dance music, wedding music, sort of Fiddler on the Roof. And the band leader was great with his band. The music was great. It was not in a synagogue, so it had nothing to do with religion. It was just in a club, downtown San Diego. And I wanted to join the band, or at least jam with it, maybe rehearse. But basically he said, don't call us, we'll call you. Oh, okay. Came home, and I thought to myself, you know what? Two can play this game, If you can't beat him, join him. No, if you can't beat him, form your own. And that's when I decided to form my own Jewish band, my Klezmer band. But I thought, let me find music that will make me different than his, right? He already has established it. Why would people want to come hear me play if I'm copying exactly the repertoire he's doing? So I thought maybe there's music unknown, still in the minds of Jews who are still living in Eastern Europe. And so I left. I was about to go to law school, by the way. I forgot to add that. Dropped out, bought a one-way ticket, thought I was going to go for a couple of months, ended up going for over a year, and came back with all these wonderful tunes. I was doing field research. I was living with the people and collecting music. And thus, my career path changed, and now I'm an artist. I have been an artist. I write books. I write plays. I make documentary films. I compose. I play the violin. If you look my name up, Yale Strom, you'll find me in Wikipedia. So that's what brings me to you. So don't let anyone say, oh, you can't do this or you can't do that. No, follow your heart and you'll be able to do it.
Thank you so much for joining us today for the play reading of The Education of Herschel Grynszpan. Later today, we have another program at 11 a.m. in just a few hours. It's titled Messages from Survivors with the co-creators of the Memory Project Productions. Tomorrow, we have two more programs. On Thursday, November 10th at 9 a.m., we have a presentation on art, poetry, and music in Theresienstadt with an educator from Yad Vashem. At 1 p.m. tomorrow, we have a film discussion of the Tattoo Torah with the amazing Dr. Miriam Klein-Kassanoff. And on Friday, we have our final program. It is all day long. We are live streaming the documentary, The Ritchie Boys. And you can register on our website, holocaustmemorialmiamibeach.org/HEW 2022. Thank you again so much for joining us, and we hope to see you at future programs. Have a good day, everyone.